What's up, family? Welcome to another edition of Success in Business. You know, I just been blown away since I started this podcast. Old dude like me just starting a podcast. Picture that. But the content just keeps coming and coming and coming. And today, if you thought previous episodes was something, I have someone even better. I mean, this is just unbelievable. I have attorney Courtney White here to just provide some not only intellect but revelations on the AI social media thing because you got someone like me who really don't know how to get started in certain social media, or even when he gets started, don't really know how to make it do what it do, if you know what I mean. So, Courtney, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
So
You're
how are you
welcome.
today?
I'm doing well. I'm
Tell me,
doing well.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. So, my name is Courtney White. I'm a research attorney at Jackson Walker
Okay.
here in the Houston office. I'm also Courthouse Couture on all of my social media sites. So, on Instagram and on TikTok, on Pinterest, and on Facebook. I love social media. I think it's really fun. And I'm excited to talk about how technology can enhance your business and create your own personal brand.
You're not gonna get paid. I see you with that big old AKA pin right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Encouraging people to vote today. Yes.
You know I'm the bruh.
I do. I do.
So I had a direction I want to go, but you mentioned something, so I have to go ahead and take. Did you always love social media?
I've always loved social media. So I have been on Facebook since Facebook required you to have a college email address to join. I've always thought social media was fun and it was a tool. Obviously, you need guardrails with social media, but I do enjoy it. I
That's
do.
something. And so, did you go to a class? I mean, how did you get into social? So first of all, I found out that you are an influencer.
I am.
Wow. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of people on social media. How did you become an influencer?
I don't think I went into it trying to be an influencer. I went into it with the idea that I wanted to take outfit selfies. And I was working for Nationwide Insurance as a lawyer. There weren't a lot of women. And I started taking selfies of my outfits. And I ended up building relationships with other lawyers and other people on Instagram who enjoyed fashion. And I've always loved fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So it really started from that. Then when I realized that, wow, people are actually making money sharing their outfits, working with brands, that's how it developed into an entire platform for me.
So explain to me how you went from your lawyer, Nationwide, Jackson Walker, and now you're an influencer selling fashion.
Right.
Explain that. I need to understand how that segued and tie it into business so that our small minority businesses could really know how you
Absolutely.
got there.
I think for me, it started with me recognizing that what I was doing was valuable. So
Wow.
that's really the first thing. The fact that me sharing what I wore to work, what I really wore every day, was valuable to someone. So understanding that what you provide is valuable is probably the first step. I think someone telling me that, even providing that knowledge of what I was wearing, the knowledge that I had from my job, that was a valuable resource. That was really the key, because I don't think I saw what I was doing as a business until I realized that what I was doing was valuable. And then the second thing is probably being able to take that idea and figure out how to make that marketable or something that can generate revenue. So for me, part of that was linking my outfits. It was also getting brand deals. I worked with Reese Witherspoon, actually sold her brand with Draper James. I did a brand deal with them, went to Nashville. So I was in their print media. I had people calling me and they were like, hey, your face is all over the Galleria when they launched their store.
Wow.
And so being able to take that idea and package it into something that's valuable. And then I would say, then being able to figure out how are you going to expand that idea? Because for me, I always wanted to link fashion to my love of the law and of politics. And that's where TikTok comes in and my TikTok page and being able to talk about the things I enjoy.
Well, okay. So we're gonna talk about that because I thank God you're here because we're gonna break this down because the purpose of success in business for us to educate, equip, and empower the small minority women business owner. And so you said three things, and let me tell you how I broke it down in my mind.
Okay.
Number one, understand and recognize your value and what you have is valuable. Number two, monetizing it. Figure out a way how to monetize it. And number three, expand.
Exactly.
Okay. Those are the three things. So believe it or not, that foundation, the way I coach my businesses, is really believing in yourself and believing the value you have. So you don't have to wait for someone to tell you the value. You have to believe what you're sharing. So whether you have one follower or 1 million followers, if you believe that you have value, then that's step one.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
That is amazing.
Exactly.
So if anyone conquers the understanding of step one, which is the hardest but easiest, then you can really make social media and AI and everything work for you.
I agree. But you have to believe that you are valuable, that you have a valuable service that people need and they want.
Before I get to 2 and 3, what about competition and trying to evaluate whether your service or product is just as good as someone else? Tie that into value.
I think social media is actually a tool to helping you figure out what's valuable. Once I actually heard someone in their coaching talk about taking your own personal insight and what you feel about yourself and your issues out of it, you can actually look at, well, how do people respond to your content?
Wow.
Looking at connecting with others, trying to get feedback and being open to that feedback, and using social media as a way to help you test out what you're doing. Is it effective? Do you need to change what you're doing? What do people respond to? Instead of saying, okay, people just don't like what I have to offer. It could be the way that you're presenting it. Maybe that needs to shift.
So I just want to make sure, because I don't want people to think this is fake news or that you are an AI bot. You are a human. You're alive, right? You're here with me, right?
Absolutely.
So there's nothing special about you. You have blood going through your red blood.
Absolutely.
You breathe oxygen.
Absolutely.
And all of that. Okay, so now that we got that understood, how did you even come up with the thought that you can monetize that? Okay, so you believe. First of all, I want family to know that you're a lawyer. And I'm a lawyer, but we're not just talking about law stuff. We're not talking about you talking about law. And we're talking about a business of fashion that you believe that you had value by taking pictures of your clothes.
Right.
And and then you switch to number 2, monetizing. Break that down for me, please.
I think the monetizing came when I realized that people were making more than what some of my friends and I were making as lawyers. That's when I said, oh, wow, I need to figure out how to make money doing this. I can't keep paying for my friend who I've known since middle school, who's also my sorority sister, to take all my photos. And I can't keep putting all of this money into this and it's not bringing in income.
Because you gotta pay the people helping you.
Exactly.
Like everyone in this room. we gotta pay everyone in this room. So
exactly.
Before you go at the speed of light, this is a different type of podcast. Exactly. And I like to kind of, like I said, break things down. I'm 59. Okay. So how does an old dog like me, or how do I tell family, literally, how do you go in and learn how to monetize? I mean, did you get your MBA or you got a PhD?
I have a minor in business and obviously a law degree, but I think incremental investment. So this was not the first thing that I've actually tried to run on my own. I had my own law firm when I first graduated from law school. And one of the things that I learned is incremental investment. Figure out, because you're going to have to spend some money to make money. So figure out how to invest in yourself incrementally. Don't, put a $10,000 investment into social media and you don't even really know what you want to do. Start out with a page, start out posting, start out connecting with people, start figuring out what do you want to share on your page. And that's going to help you figure out how to monetize it. But if you just start putting all of this money into it, not really knowing what you're trying to do, you might need to shift and you've put all of your money into something that may not even be effective for you.
How did you learn how to do that?
I think watching others and asking people questions, if somebody didn't want to tell me what they were doing, I was like, well, I'm a lawyer. I can Google it. I'll figure it out.
Google it. Yeah.
Figuring out what apps.
And now with AI, you can also.
Yes, you can look everything up. I can write my blog post using ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. So, but I think InShot is an app I recommend to everyone. If you were
spell that.
InShot, INSPACE. I edit a lot of my videos using InShot. InShot is really easy to use. It's free. There are features that you can pay for, but that's a great app if you are just starting out with editing on social media. Figuring out where can you monetize it. So for me, that meant figuring out the apps that allowed people to take a picture of my Instagram post and they're instantly sent links to my outfits. Mm-hmm. And then once I started getting bigger, figuring out, well, okay, I don't have enough time to always do those posts. Are there services or people that I can pay to do that for me? And, that was kind of the step-by-step process. I didn't start out there. I started out just posting it myself, and it wasn't successful. Like nobody was buying anything at the beginning. And now, I'm looking every day, like when I wake up, okay, did people buy something from me? What are they buying? What do they like? Do they like when I post suits? Do they like dresses more? What do I need to find? How much do they want to pay? So do they like it when I post stuff from Target or Walmart or Nordstrom or wherever? It's a step-by-step process.
Now, I got to get to expand for I always run out of time. And I want to make sure I get to expand. But you said some things here, and sometimes we take for granted and we move so fast that there's something in there that family can really appreciate. You mentioned that no one was buying it at first.
Exactly.
So when you first did this and you wanted to monetize it. So first of all, you believed and you had nothing. I ain't gonna get biblical here about faith. I'm not gonna go there on this one.
No, but that's true. That's true.
I'm gonna try to. You had believed in your value that you was putting out there, and then you said you monetize it, but you just said kind of slid it in, think no one heard that. It wasn't popping off at first.
Was not.
So I know it's different for different people. And when we get to expand, I'm saving this one big question when you talk about expanding. But how long did it not pop off? And were you getting discouraged during that time? Did you want to just quit and just give up and say the hell with it?
Absolutely. I have wanted to quit multiple times. I still want to quit sometimes now because I'm asking myself, why am I doing this? And I have a full-time job. Uh-huh. I don't have to do this, but I felt like I was supposed to be doing this. Yeah. So I kept going. And whenever I have wanted to quit, there's always been another major breakthrough. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's coincidental.
And you're making money.
Exactly. One of the main times I wanted to quit, I noticed Reese Witherspoon liked one of my posts. Whoa. The actress who was in Legally Blonde. So, and then the next thing, I end up getting this email asking me to do a brand trip and take photos for her brand for her fall collection.
Did they pay for that?
They did. They paid for everything.
How'd you negotiate?
And
did you have to get a lawyer?
No. That's been the best part. Yeah.
So does that so that is part of, is lead generation next, or is that part of expansion?
I think you can generate leads through social media just by being yourself. There is a huge market for lawyers, especially on TikTok. And that's kind of the reason I got on TikTok. Lawyers actually have their own groups where we network with each other. I mean, some of them even meet up almost like conferences because they have grown their social media accounts to hundreds of thousands of followers. And they have generated leads from themselves, literally by being themselves. There's one lawyer who posts different scenarios about accidents. Who do you think's at fault? Some people are super funny, or they talk about their love of politics. It just really depends. So you can definitely generate leads. I think the way that people generated leads before, either, through traditional media and print ads, that's evolving. And now you can do that through social media.
Wow. So here we go. I got to do this. You have a minority-owned construction company,
absolutely,
a minority-owned marketing firm, a minority-owned printing firm that want to do business with the government. Mm-hmm. Okay, translate the value, the monetization, knowing the demographic, knowing what direction they want to go to, as well as the lead generation expansion to that minority business owner?
So I think the value that exists is that you need to know your audience for social media, number one. So if you're trying to work with the government, you obviously want to be very mindful of what you are putting out there. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think you can make sure that you can establish yourself as an expert in your field. You can make sure that people even know your business exists. You know, telling people what you do when you're working on large projects, explaining how you do that, explaining how you mitigate risk or whatever your niche is. Mm-hmm. You can really establish yourself as a subject matter expert. And in fact, social media often works best and rewards people when you can establish yourself as an expert, because the algorithm is trained based on the hashtags that you use, the keywords that you're using in various posts. So you will find the correct followers when you're kind of establishing yourself as an expert.
Now, do the disclaimer for lawyers. And other
exactly. So lawyers have to be very careful because we cannot say we are an expert unless we are board certified. So we do have to be mindful of that. But what I think I can tell you, you don't even have to say the word expert. But if people know you constantly talk about a certain subject, if that subject comes out in the news and you do lives and you talk about it on a regular basis, they're going to come to your page. So if a major construction, thing comes out in the news, in your example that you provided, people are going to go to your page and say, well, what do you think about that? They're going to be looking for you to talk about that because you've, maybe not directly, but you've indirectly established yourself as an expert. And oftentimes lawyers can do that as well without, breaching any of our professional responsibility duties.
Okay. So for you kind of said it without saying it, but so TikTok is the way to go, even though you're on several other social media.
I think TikTok is a lot easier to grow, even though we know that TikTok, there is a threat of TikTok, being shut down. I was able to talk with TikTok when I was at the Congressional Black Caucus Convention. TikTok has amazing legal representation, does not anticipate going anywhere anytime soon. I still think it's worth investing in TikTok. Obviously, if you have time, Instagram and Facebook would probably be my last choice. I would say YouTube is a great choice. And the reason YouTube is a great choice is because YouTube is evergreen. And in social media language, that means it's content that will never go anywhere. That means if you post it, somebody could be looking 2 to 3 years from now for what your business does, and you're still going to be on YouTube. It's been there for decades. We know it's established. We know it's a stable company. And so YouTube is another option. And YouTube also does YouTube Shorts, which can be monetized as well.
Yes, because you could get monetization in different.
In fact, each of those platforms I mentioned, you can be monetized on every one of those platforms.
Yeah. So I started this by telling you my age and me, and this is on YouTube, and I have Instagram and things of that nature, but what about the business owner and the level they're at? So you have a mom and pop drywall company. They kind of communicate to family. By the way, this is my family. So that's
yes, absolutely. I love that.
So we kind of break it down and kind of talk like family.
Okay.
It's not, we know ishy poo poo here. You know what I mean? any level. I mean,
yeah, I have
at the
tips.
Barbershop,
yes.
Anyone, my barber. How can my barber, Terry Berryman, how can he get started on TikTok at his level?
I think one of the main things you need to do is find TikTok is great because you don't really have to buy apps to help you edit. But I would say that app I mentioned earlier, InShot, download that app. I would also say make sure you get a free Canva account. And I'm going to tell you why you need a Canva account. I think both of those apps together are really critical. So if you don't know what to post at the beginning, but you have a logo, for instance, get someone to take that logo and you need to make what I like to call static posts. So you need to have just a set post that you can post where you can post quotes, things like that using your logo. So that's branding. Exactly. Then, make sure that logo looks good. You can minimize that. Put that in your InShot video when you're doing videos. And that's how you're going to get started. You're not going to have followers overnight. Mm-hmm. But what you need to start doing is get comfortable if you're going to be on TikTok talking in front of a camera. So a lot of people now are surprised, but because I talk so much, I'm on my law firm's podcast, which I enjoy. I'm on this podcast. I'm always on TikTok. I'm always doing lives. The more you do it, we become an expert.
Wow.
In the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, I'm definitely a reader. He talks about the 10,000 hour rule. The more that you do something, the better at it that you get. We know that's about 10 years. So you're not going to be an expert on social media and nobody's asking you to. But TikTok is also great because you don't have to do perfect videos on TikTok.
Right.
People get on TikTok looking any type of way and they go viral. Everybody knows we saw the woman Risa Tisa giving her multiple segments about her bad relationship, and she has went on to completely monetize that and did not know that was going to go viral. So, just being consistent is the other thing you've got to remember. Social media doesn't work if you never post. So you've got to be consistent with your posting.
What does consistent mean? Tell me numerically.
Consistent is different, and I hate to say this for everyone. I actually met with Instagram earlier this year. They were doing conferences. They came to Houston. On Instagram, it's about 3 times a week. You need to be active in your stories every single day on Instagram. So when you look at that, that's a bit more of an investment.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You're dropping so much knowledge here. So break it down, because everyone just pretend they know. How do you determine what should be a story and what should be a post?
That is a good question.
I think to ask that question.
A story is usually, where I, at least for me personally, get either in front of the camera and I'm kind of like sharing and developing a relationship. Because stories will be boosted to people who may or may not be your followers as well. Your posts are going to primarily be shown to your followers. They're also going to be shown to other people. But if I'm looking to share something that I'm like, this doesn't necessarily need to be on my page forever, I'm going to put it in a story. Maybe it's something that is really relevant that day and that day only. I'm going to put that in a story. Or if I post an outfit and I want to also post the link and say, hey, if you didn't see my post, I'm going to, bring in my post, repost it in stories and relink my outfit. Because not only is my link in my bio, but my link is also in my stories, because I need to make sure any way you look, I'm monetizing so that, I can potentially gain a sale.
I mean, it's so many things. It's so many. I mean, literally, it's 15 minutes, but I gotta. In closing, there's 3 things I wanna just close out with, and you can just do it however you want. I have to tell you. I have to ask, how do people determine what hashtag to put down? And also, the other question is, how does a business owner, understand or know which things to put in a story or not put in a story, which things to decide to post and not post? Is there a rule as far as that? And then the last thing is, how do you equate the number of, interactions, or LinkedIn puts,
insights is what it's called on Instagram.
Does that have a correlation to money?
It does.
Okay.
So this is what I can say. If you're trying to figure out what you should use as a hashtag, you need to look at other businesses that are like your business. Okay. So you're going to be inspired. You're not copying. You're going to be inspired by others. Yeah. Don't reinvent the wheel. So if that business has 1 million followers or 100,000 followers, look at what hashtag they're using. Then click on that hashtag, or you're going to search in Instagram or whatever platform you're on for who is using that hashtag. If those look like businesses that are like your business, you're going to use them there. But the new thing, even newer than hashtags, is keywords. So you want to make sure that buzzwords that define your business, again, we're going to go back to the construction example. If you're a construction company, is it construction? Is it drywall? Whatever it may be, you're going to make sure you have those somewhere in your post. And the keywords can kind of go below the caption, which is where, you're going to describe, if the post is about a new construction site, you're describing the new construction site, you would just put the keywords below that. And you would put your hashtags below that. In terms of insights, that really matters if you're trying to monetize, because you want to see how many people found you using the hashtags you're using. Right. How many people are clicking on your post? If you posted a video, how long are they watching the video? because most people's attention spans are very short. If they're on TikTok and you don't hook them within the first 1 to 2 seconds, they click off your video. And TikTok literally shows you where people, what they call the drop off point.
Wow.
Because people are not on that platform to get long form content. They're on YouTube, so you've got to be mindful of that. So you need to keep in mind your insights, because they can also, as I've shared before, help you decide what you need to post and where.
Wow. I mean, I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed. Tell me, how can people get a hold of you?
Oh, that's a great question. So there's lots of ways. If you want to find me on social media, you can find me on my website, www.courthousecouture.com.
Courthouse Couture.
Yes. My name is Courtney and I'm a lawyer. So you can always remember that. You can find me on Instagram at Courthouse Couture, and on TikTok, and on Pinterest, and on Facebook. So I'm branded everywhere, and my name is trademarked, of course.
Yeah. You know what? Amazing, because I've done that with Instagram. First of all, this segment is sponsored by FileYourTrademark.com.
Awesome.
And of course, Success in Business is trademark, and the social media platforms do respect trademarks.
They do.
It take a while, but they do respect that. So FileYourTrademark.com was nice of to sponsor this segment, and you also gave them your tags. Okay.
Absolutely.
And also, if you want to, the tags of your law firm's podcast.
Yes. So our law firm's podcast is called JW Fast Takes. So you can find that easily online, www.jw.com/fast.
I'm just blown away, Attorney
Thank
Courtney
you.
White, for all of your knowledge that you dropped on family here.
Awesome.
I mean, you're going to have people running after you and try to figure out, try to find you and get out. So thank you so much, family, for joining us. Definitely subscribe, Success in Business channel. You can find me, ask a question, any ideas for some episodes, info@successinbusiness.org. Instagram at Success in Business. And definitely thank you to FileYourTrademark.com for sponsoring. Thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you.
Family, as always, I wish you success in business and prosperity in all things you do. Thank you.